I need to talk. And who better to talk with than me? um, Life is crazy. Overall, I'm thankful. I feel blessed. Um, I'm cool and all that. I ain't off on no deep end type stuff, but I'm just like, whew, this is hard. This is hard, and I'm tired. Um, okay, so my little brother ran away. He the youngest. He the youngest of the six in my mama house. Just turned 18. Graduated high school. Really good student. Got a promising start to a college education, just furthering his knowledge and stuff. He got accepted to like his top 3 choices. I'm sure he got accepted to some other schools too, but the 3 that he wanted to get into, he got in. So yeah, he's got future plans after high school once he graduates. He, you know, life ain't easy. Everybody go through it or whatever, and he's really been going through it. Understandable. He's a kid. He's a teen. There's gonna be a lot of stuff in life that he's not gonna understand, but he'll be all right. Type of thing, like you just young right now. You limited to your knowledge and you limited to the things that you can do. Your access and all of that it'll grow and it'll expand the more you grow and go through life. But I guess he was like, fuck that. I'm laughing at it now, but I'm only laughing to keep from crying because I'm still really confused about this. Like, he really jumped ship. Like, the nigga went AWOL or whatever. Like, so it's like I share all that initially to be like, this has to be like a mental break, right? Or mental crises. You know how they used to be like, men can experience, now they say like everybody but men can experience midlife crisis. This young man is 18, and I'm saying that respectfully because I feel like at this point in my life, I know now he's still a kid. 18, still a teenager. Yes, legal in the eyes of the law, but he don't know nothing. And I know how, we'll be like, oh yeah, we thought we knew everything and da da da. Yeah, he might have some mind, like you think you know, but you have no idea. Like, he for sure is a kid. And because he don't fully grasp onto that, I think it's making him very delusional, very arrogant, very and just downright disrespectful. Because he looks down on people and feeling like they, this world is so greedy, Everything is about money, capitalism, consumerism, He's got like a really high, like a moral compass, like how he sees stuff, and seems very insightful, thought-provoking, like he has a philosophical and sort of, let's see, like in simple terms, I'd be like, girl, he just full of shit. But, I feel like the way that he talks and the way that he thinks, he would present himself as though he's been around the world, but he knows nothing. But the idea and the abyss into the unknown, he's willing to submit to that with no skills, and it's like, now that's dangerous. You gonna bump your head a lot. I could see if he was doing this, and it was like, but he got a plan, and he gonna weather this thing out, and he knows, you know what I'm saying? He knows that if things don't work out, what to do, or whatever the case. We didn't have that conversation, cause like I said, people within the past year. Everybody around him, everybody who cares and is concerned about him, who loves him, they have been supportive. We have all been supportive, very supportive of him. Like, encouraging. He's a teenager, so of course, we identifying it now as depression. He's got a lot of depression, and that's because you got your anxiety and all of that going on. He's young, the hormones, his body is growing, his mind is growing. He's coming to a great milestone in his life. He's graduating high school. He's ending his high school career his former education, all of grade school, on a great note. He's a good student. All his teachers like him. He's got friends, like people who are like him, like, oh, Richard, type of thing. So, I don't know. I guess you would say like classic or class A type student or something like that. He's really likable, but or so it seems, So, for him to just completely jump ship, that's why I'm like, to me, I think it's AWOL, or were you just lying that whole time? Because where did it come from? Where did you get in your mind and make the conclusion, like, I'm about to leave? What? Fuck this. I wish the fuck I would. This life is beneath me. I don't know. I don't know. That's what I said. I'm laughing at it, but I'm only laughing to keep from crying because I am confused. I am confused. I don't know what made him think he could run away or submit to, to that being a decision. Like, that's why I'm like, so a part of me do feel like you was lying, like, because something like this, you had to be like, all right, fine, I'm gonna do this. This is gonna be the plan. But the second this shit don't go my way, I'm gone. That's what I feel like he did, because this kind of behavior, after all the support this nigga has gotten, and still getting, so I'm like, what am I missing? I'm missing something here. So look, boom. Like I said, he graduating. So he's now at the end of his school year. There's really nothing left for him to do. He's got about three more weeks worth of school. But he's passed all 5 parts of his state testing. He's he's done with all his class projects. Like, everything is done. It's only like if you show up now, he'll just be going for a half a day. He'll be getting early dismissal, and it'll just be, time sitting there to do that stuff. But if he's done, like, a student like me would be using that time to get work done because I bullshitted, or I didn't do stuff, or I had a whole bunch of other, you know what I'm saying, going on, to where now I need this time to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do, right? He don't have to do none of that. So I'm like, what am I missing? And so We've been talking the whole year, even the summer before the school year, the whole school year, and it was understood like, well, you're gonna have to get a job. You can either do it now because it was the option like, well, consider what you're gonna do. If you're either gonna go to school and just be a student and focus on your academics and doing some sports, or something, some type of involvement, or you're gonna, go to school and work. And he went, he just focused on his senior year, just having a good time. And by having a good time, I mean he was a really good student, good in his classes, uh, on sports, doing other different type of clubs and activities in school. So he focused on being a student, and that's fine. Wasn't no problem with it because he was producing the type of work that would support that. You know what I'm saying? You say you want to do it, he getting good grades, you know. Go ahead. So, but now, like I said, we coming to the end of the school year. This would be your summer right before you go to school. He wants to go. He wants to go to school out of state, and it ain't close out of state. He want to go all the way to Alabama. Well, all of his schools, actually, his top choices were all out-of-state schools, which was fine, no problem. And I know I told him this several times. It is not a problem with you wanting to go to out-of-state school, but you also have to plan for how you're going to get there. We can't just take for granted or assume that somebody's going to come through and foot the bill, or because you're doing something that you're going to be granted or rewarded with something. In the perfect world, that would be nice, but life happens, and just because something doesn't happen for you doesn't mean that you don't deserve it, or that somebody's trying to be mean to you, or that you did something wrong. It doesn't suggest any of that. It just means that life happens. Just like my family as a whole, like in everybody's individual household and family unit, everybody going through something, and then everybody is going through something as a family. We are hurting right now. Oh my God. It'd be like, now I don't want to exaggerate, but I'm sure I ain't never seen burdens on the family like I seen on mine. I don't know why God decided we was going to be his strongest soldiers. Say, but Lord, they said you was the heavy load carrier. These burdens. Saying, I just want you to know, Father, it's getting kind of heavy. Say, you can go and lighten it up, Father. But again, that's life. I get it. Everything is not going to be going according to plan or what we feel like is planned. Life is going to life. But still, for this nigga to jump ship like this, I was like, this boy is having a mental break. He's lost his mind. He's lost his mind. I'm his sister. I have to help him. We gotta get something figured out here. Like, he really ran away. So, like I said, in the semester, he don't have to be to school. So he came down with me. Now, I don't live in the same city as my whole family. I live a whole hour away, and I'm okay with that. That's my, that's my choice. But he's been staying with me over the summer and everything. But it's just like, you don't have to come down here with me, and I know I expressed that to him. If you got your plan set up how you want it to go, you don't have to come down here with me. This is your summer before you go off to school. You just make sure you got your plan together and what you're going to do. I thought that was understood. I guess not. I guess the fuck not. But I went to go get him last week. It was like Thursday last week. Went to go pick him up. Had a conversation with him and my auntie, so we all agreed and understood that he didn't have to go to school through this week, so he was going to come down here. That's okay, fine. And I'm like, well, shoot, that gives us a jump start on the plan and what we need to do for, getting for the summer and getting him ready to go off to school. He's gonna have to get a job. He's 18 now. He's got to support himself. He's got to be able or willing to, what you call, contribute. You got to pitch in. you got you got to help bring in some resources. Bring in some funds, some money to help support your lifestyle. This is about you now. This is about how you gonna have to support you. I know I've been having this conversation with him, but I also know that my family has been having this conversation with him. All of my aunts, uncles, cousins, I know members of my church, close friends and associates to the family, like everybody, because that's what they mean when they ask you, like, so what you gonna do now? Okay, all right. And when they taking that time to give you that conversation, these are the things that you need to be thinking about. Don't just bullshit your way through that conversation. Really understand, like, they want to know, what is your plan? Well, do you know what your plan is? Well, okay, how you gonna get there? What's your best level or knowledge in ways to navigate stress management? Now, not everybody worried about that. But depending on what your path and your goal is, no matter what, you're going to have to know and you have to learn how to best deal with your stress. You trying to run away from it and avoid it, it ain't going to do nothing but slow you up, because I feel like when the dust settles and your mind is clear, it's literally going to be like, oh, okay, what next? Because you got to go back out there and do you. You got to take care of yourself. He came down Thursday. I told him Friday, like, okay, we got to apply for a job. That conversation did not go well at all. He's been really short-tempered and really, like, snapping on me. Like, and when I say that, I don't mean like, no, not like that. But just, I could notice a change in his behavior. I could notice a change in his demeanor and how he was speaking with me. And it would just be like, even down to his decision making and stuff. It just, the past, I would say since the top of this year, it was just like a progression thing. I'm like, hey, you okay? Okay, make sure you talk to somebody, get you some counseling, speak to your counselors, I'm all of that. And, he's been seeming okay, cool, but then it just, I guess it hit the fan, and he was like, would you back off? So, tell him he got to get a job. We got to fill out a job application. He's filling it out on his phone, and I'm telling him, like, I'm at my desk because I'm working from home. And I'm telling him, like, hey, go ahead and fill out the application, but before you submit anything, let me see it. I want to just, get a look at it before you submit it. From there, like, I'm talking about top of the conversation, may I ask why? Because I just want to make sure you're filling it out correctly, before you submit it so you can get the job. I mean, can't I just figure it out on my own? I mean, yeah, but why would you want to? That's weird. You're saying that you don't want help to ensure that you get the job. Like, that's just like saying you want to be professional at something, or you're going to choose like an engineer career, but you don't want to go through the formal education or training to make sure that you're, good at performing whatever job or task, whatever entails with it. And it's not that it's like, duh, I'm not trying to challenge him or nothing like that, but it's just the way that he carries himself, the way that he kind of thinks or projects onto other people. And, somebody who would seem so high and knowledgeable or have such this moral compass, you would think then, like, and you mean to tell me you missing? Like, you feel like you got it that bad? Like, you got it that good with yourself that you You don't need no help. Or is it just you don't need help with me? Because it seemed like you just got an issue with me. Oh, okay. I'm like, boy, let me see that application before you submit it. I ain't trying to hear that. I don't care about your attitude. Because I really don't. Because you still got to get a job. You know, like, that's how it's... All right. And then because they're still my little brother at the end of the day. Like, dude, nigga, you tripping. Here. So, of course, he, I'm asking him, like, hey, what part you on? The resume. Filling out my work resume. Okay. But again, still just... So then he finally brings me his phone and shows me where, he filling out the part where it's like, what type of hours are you desiring? Or, how long do you, in terms and all that stuff like that. He answered all of it wrong. He answered all of it wrong. It was, he telling them that he looking for part-time, part-time temporary work. And that right there just sent me up the wall, because it's just like, now why would you fill it out that way? And I know me, and because everything is a process, and I'm not just trying to force you to do anything, but I want you to have a plan. This is the way that I'm thinking about it, but you're more than welcome. If that doesn't work for you, then you need to start implementing something that does. But at the end of the day, when it's time for this to happen, you need to have thought out a plan to how this needs to happen. That's all. That's how my mind set things. So that's why I'm looking at him now confused, like, dude, what am I missing? Why do you seem so agitated about getting a job? We talked about this. We've talked about this for a year now. You need to get a job. You need to support yourself so you can get to school. What am I missing? So I look at it. He filled everything wrong. Yes, I'm pissed at this point, because I'm like, because you sitting up want to act like you so fucking smart, and then want to be so agitated with me for just trying to help and ensure, your success rate of getting to the next step for you. You bite my head off for nothing, and you still wrong. So yes, I went off. Like, why would you fill out just temporary? His smart ass. Because it is temporary. But I'm like, my thing is, yeah, we know that. You know that. You understand that. But these jobs aren't looking to just hire you temporarily. That's what internships and volunteer work and stuff is for. But if they really talking about paying you some real money, they're looking for consistent, hardworking, longevity, long term. They're not looking to just, we looking to give some kids a job just for like 2 months, 3 weeks, however you want. You just come in. This ain't Minuteman. This is a business. That's just how it works. Any type of job you work, training can be anywhere from 2 weeks up to 6 to 8 weeks. There are corporate companies to this day that still have a 90-day rule, meaning that you're training and getting it wrong, and just the temporary nesting phase, and just getting your feet wet in the job. They still have a 90-day rule. 90 days is 3 months. So when companies are making hires, if they don't believe that you're going to make it past a week, if they don't think you're going to make it past a month, if they don't think you're going to make it past their training process, if they don't think you're going to even get to the 90 days, they're not going to waste time hiring you. They're not going to waste time investing in you. Because just as much as you're applying for the job, whatever requirements that they have or whatever it takes to even interview you and look at you as a potential, that costs money. And not just I'm not saying just financial currency money and time and effort and you know, like, people have to look at these applications. People have to go through a whole rubric and requirements to check off, you know what I'm saying, checklists of things that would make sure that you're qualified. Then on top of that, they have to have the patience and the mental stability to even have you come in there with whatever attitude you have, with whatever attention span you have, to be patient enough to walk you through the training process on how to do a job. So it's like, I don't care how beneath you feel like this job is. You got to understand that a job is still a job. And you, at this point, you need this job more than that job needs you. If anything, it's an equal partnership. You need money, they got work. They need employees. They need somebody to complete the work. So you tell you what, you come complete this work, come work for us. We'll pay you. That's what it's an agreement, it's a contract, it's a partnership. Get your money, get paid. Like, so you upset and you going off talking about because it is temporary. We know that. I get it. But you still got to get your money. And then I've been saying to him before, that's why I told you to have a plan for your plan. And a part of your plan is just securing all options. Maybe this is your goal. But sometimes you got to set up, and if A don't work, let's do plan B, let's do plan C, or however you want to look at it. I told him months ago, hey, I think you should apply to some local colleges because, you know, it's just good to have a plan. Have a plan for a plan. He got offended then. He questioned me and asking me whether I felt like he was capable of doing something or not. I'm like, that doesn't matter. I think you're more than capable, but you also have to have a plan for your plan. Because I'm like, I told him, think about it like this. Whether you stay up with family or if you come down here with me, you're going to have to work. So when you're talking to these employers and in these interviews, I don't want you to think it's okay to just be lying and pulling stuff out your butt. You really need to have something concrete or something tangible, not just to be, you know, trying to be like honest or not lie. That's a good part too. You want to make sure you're doing that too. But then also, should in case your plan doesn't work, you got something set up and you can keep riding it out how you want to ride it out. Apply to the local colleges because you're currently working, you know, you're going to be working locally. So in those interviews, I've been in enough interviews to know those conversations can go either way. But when they're getting a feel for you and they're asking you about you, too many and you gonna be looking like you lying and trying to make stuff up. And if you seem like you too spaced out or whatever you got going on is not gonna allow you to focus on the task at hand while you're at work, they're not interested. Tartar sauce, I gotta take a call. Okay. I just got off the phone with my mother about this situation with my brother. I can't even remember where I stopped. But I know I was talking about the application part and how he filled it out wrong. And just how everything escalated from there. Because, okay, I'm getting on him about filling it out wrong. And I'm telling him, why would you do that? And just like I went through and I'm like, you know, you got to be thinking about, you want to get hired. I was telling him, that's why I said apply to some local schools. You got to have a plan for your plan. That way when you in your interview, you're not just pulling stuff out your butt and you're not lying. Because they might ask you what your plans are, what your future, what type of time you have, things like that. You know what I'm saying? So, then, in the process of me telling that, he's got one of those iPhones. So, once it gets to a certain percentage, it'll give you an alert like, boop, boop, phone dying, whatever. So that came up. I tell him, look, your phone is dying. Go ahead and put it on a charger. Let it charge, and then we'll finish the application together. Again, I'm working from home, so I'm already on the computer doing something. So I don't want to have to deal with the boop boop alert about the phone dying. So I'm like, look, just put it on charger, and we'll handle it once it charges up. We'll finish the application. And he like, why can't we just finish it now? It's a fast charger. It could charge while I'm still using it. Da, da, da. I said, Richard, I understand that. Just put the phone down. Put the phone down. There's nothing wrong with letting the phone charge so that we don't have to deal with that. So then, that's when that little nigga hauled off with the, you are not my parent. 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 And it's just like, I know that. I know for a fact I'm not a parent. I know for a fact I'm not a parent. God ain't blessed me for my belly to grow other than food. Okay? I haven't had the privilege of being a parent. I'm your sister. I'm barely your sister. I never said I was perfect at that job either. But I do care about you. So because I'm not your parent, I can't tell you anything. I can't ask you anything. I can't give you a direction and you follow it. Like somebody say, you can't tell me what to do. I feel like that's basically what he was saying. And it was just like, you are so disrespectful. Like, and then because it's not that serious, just let the phone charge, dude. So, because why would you want to deal, like, that's what I'm saying. Why would you want to deal with that alert and you don't have to? Just let the phone charge. If you let it charge enough, we're going to be filling this application out for at least 10, 15. I can't remember how long that process was, but I want to say it had to at least be like 20 minutes or something. I don't know. But I don't want to be looking at the battery dying alert or having to keep it stuck to the charger through that whole process. So when he said that, it pissed me off. It had triggered me. So I went upside his head. Yes, I did. I know I'm not your parent. So then from there, I feel like he was embarrassed and he just, and frustrating everything now. But no, you don't get to leave. You got to be accountable. Stand on that. You let something disrespectful slip out your mouth. I corrected that ass immediately. You didn't like the correction, but now you don't get to choose whether or not you stay or go, or no. Sit down, because you're in trouble now. And when you're in trouble, you don't get to do what you want to do. You're in trouble. Sit down. I literally had to restrain this boy. Because he kept trying to fight me to get out the door. Something didn't seem right altogether. Even that's what I'm saying. Like, lately, he just been just real snappy with me. Just, a bunch of attitude, huffing and puffing, eye rolling and everything. I know he's a teenager. I know he's feeling himself. And I know I keep that in mind and let him be very, he, honestly, boy, you don't pay none of my bills. You can't hurt my feelings. You really can't ruffle my feathers like that. But when he said that, it's just like, no. You too disrespectful. And I'm going to have to let you know real quick. I don't care how mature I am. I don't care how grown I am. I don't care how much I've evolved and healed and journeyed through some really rough patches in my life. I don't care about none of that. At the end of the day, I'm still me. Okay? You're not going to disrespect me. And if you disrespect me, I'm going to have to handle you directly. So, I had to restrain this boy and tussle with him to get him to calm down and sit down. Now, I told you I was working. So I'm doing this in between meetings. In between meetings, having to tussle with this boy. I get through my last meeting and something telling me it still ain't right. He seems, what's wrong with him? So I said, maybe he do need to walk. Because that's the thing. It's not out the norm for him to want to go for a walk. That morning, he went for a walk. Anytime he come down here, he's used to going for a walk. He know the neighborhood. He'll walk to the park. It's 2 parks where I live. He will walk. And I'm okay with him walking. So, but he wanted to leave at that point. But I'm like, no. You're in, like, you got to be accountable. You said something, you didn't like that you got a consequence, but now you need to accept the fact that you're wrong. Just sit down. He wasn't trying to hear it. So that's why I said, I got to the end of that meeting. I'm like, well, maybe he do need to blow off some steam. Maybe, he ain't going to walk nowhere, but maybe he do just need to get some air, sit on the front stoop or something. He only went outside in pajamas. No socks, no shoes, no shirt. He only had on pajama pants. So, again, when I let him out with the understanding that he was going for at least around my complex a walk and then to be on the front step. He was gone. I worked both my jobs that day. So I didn't even have time to go and look for him. I had to, like I said, I worked both my jobs and I had to go pay my rent in between the window that I had from my first job to my second job. So I didn't even have time to look for him. He left. He didn't take his wallet, no ID. He didn't take his phone. So I didn't have any way to contact him. I would have really had to go look for him. Friday night come, I get off work. It's close to midnight. He ain't home. He didn't come home. Saturday go by. I leave. I got engagements and everything. But I'm at least expecting by the time I get home, he would be sitting on the front stoop or something. He wasn't there. And so I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me go find this boy. Let me see. The first, like when I would go out and leave the house and stuff, I'm looking in corners and everything, trying to see if I see him. I didn't see him. So at that point, Saturday night, something told me just go to the police station. Went to the police station, found out, they told me, after he left my house, he walked into the police station and told them that he didn't have anywhere to go. That's not true. Because even if he didn't want to stay at my house down here, he has family. And I could have took him to our family. So it's not true that he didn't have anywhere to go. So again, that's why I'm like, what is going on? What mentally is going on to where he volunteered that? Why would you go in there and tell them that? That's not true. So from there, they offered him a ride to a shelter. And then, it's like I live in the suburb of the city. So in the inner city, basically downtown, there's a shelter downtown. They gave him a ride there. From there, some good Samaritan or somebody gave him a ride to another shelter out in Salem, Ohio. Again, what is this behavior? So, and at this point, these are decisions that he's making. What in his mind was made up or allow him to think that he did this and now he's going to do that and then this and then that. No communication, no talking. And all of this time, he had a way to get in contact with me. Because now I know he wasn't outside. So if you're not outside, then you, my car not on. Oh yeah, my car not on. So I'm like, I want to turn on the light. Oh, I didn't know that it do that. That's a good way to kind of save it. But that is so funny. No, it ain't light enough. That's a little bit better. No, we gonna need that one on. Yeah, gotta see my face. But yeah, so, cause my thing was, at this point, he's moving. And he's moving with like an urgency or something. Like he's going somewhere. Never once thought to just come back home. He just gonna keep going. So then come Sunday, because like I said, I went to the police and I'm making police reports and everything, and you know, they helping me look and they staying on the trail with me. That's when they let me know he was at the shelter in Salem. Salem is an hour away south where I live. I'm like, what the hell? We don't know nobody in Salem. We don't have no family in Salem. What the heck is he doing in Salem? Come to find out, he's at another shelter. And then from there, if I hadn't got there when I got there, he was like the next day, he was on his way somewhere else, just going. And so he calls me Sunday and tells me, you know, things change and it is what it is. And he's not coming back. And I'm like, so what, you know, we were looking forward to your prom and your graduation. You know, like, you just gonna forfeit all of that? Like, you gonna forfeit going off to college? You have an opportunity that most people would die for. Like, they would love to have this opportunity. You're a good student. You got good grades. You got scholarships. You got all kind of options. You've made it through high school, young man. You don't have any kids. You've beat not being a teen parent, and you're a fairly decent kid. You don't have any record. You haven't had any issues with the law. You haven't messed up your permanent record. You don't have a criminal background. You have it basically looks like a golden ticket. And you've earned that because these are, you know, also from your actions. So it's like, why would you forfeit that? Which is what has me questioning it and has me so confused. And I'm just like, oh, he needs some help. This seems like, if it's a manic, no, maybe not manic, but just like a little mini mental break, you know, something. But he needs to talk to somebody. And then, like I said, I had to tussle with him. This was Friday, so he could stay in the house. Because something was telling me, even before I had let him out, I was asking my friends. I had texted two of my friends down here with me. And I'm like, look, can he stay with you until I get off work? They both had some, no, I can't do it. I'm sorry. Okay, understandable. And that's when I was like, okay, maybe he do need a little breather. I can at least give him that. And that's when he left. But something was telling me, like, something's not right. Like, nah, I don't think he should be by himself. No, you know, something. You know what I'm saying? I can't say specifically because he did this. No, but it was a feeling. Yes, all of that had happened, but I still was trying to understand, like, now, where is this coming from? What is going on? So that happened. And then now get to Sunday and he's telling me he ready to just go off in the world. He just gonna travel and see the world. But no money, no job, no real skills. He just gonna hitchhike his way across the world. And it's just like, boy, what is going on? So he basically was calling to tell me, like, this was it. You know, like, I'm not, you know, pretty much peace out type of thing. I had my butt in that car so fast and got down that road to get my baby. Like, and I feel like it wasn't nobody but God and the ancestors covering me in that whole trip. Traveling mercy the whole way. I ain't had no full tank of gas, but I knew I had enough to get to where I need to. So I'm thankful and appreciative of that. And then he getting there, it was like one of those eerie feelings because I knew what I was there for, but I still didn't know what I was going what I was going to encounter. I didn't know where to look. I didn't know what to do, type of thing, but I knew I was there on a mission, right? I go in one door. It just seemed like the TV was on with nobody in there, type thing. Then I had came out of there, and then it was the first door there. Knocked on that door, and Richard answered. My baby answered the door. And he looking at me like a what are you doing here type of thing. And I'm like, come on. Basically, come on. And I didn't go in aggressive. I didn't go in like, with a hot temper or any anger or anything like that. But it really was like, come on, we gonna talk. But at the same time, I ultimately knew I'm not about to waste no time with you. Because, I don't know what I'm going to encounter. And as a woman, I know I don't have any weapons, and I don't know if he got anybody else with him. But I know I need to act fast. I need to get myself out of there, and I need to get my baby out of there. So, yes, I had to, once again, hoist him up, pull him out of that building, pull him across the parking lot, and get him into my car. I wasn't leaving there without him. I wasn't. I understood that. It definitely had signs and everything saying that it was under surveillance. I knew that. I mean, a lot of businesses, they got the cameras on the streets now. So I very well understand that they they could have the whole place surveillance. I understand that. But I was gonna get my baby. And got him. So, in that car ride, it was like the longest car ride. It wasn't but a little bit over an hour, but it was the longest car ride ever. Then, even talking with him then, it was like the conversation, like he could make a little bit of sense, but at the same time, when you know a little bit about, life and the world and certain concepts and stuff like that, like some things you can unlike when you hear somebody else talking or whatever, you understand like, oh, they only know about this much. They don't know that there's other things in the world that exist or take precedent. And yeah, if you looking at it this way and only from this perspective, then yes, that would be true, type of thing. Like, he just needs to live a little more. Once again, being able to acknowledge he understands what he understands, but only from the scope of an 18-year-old. He doesn't know enough about life himself, like understanding himself as he's developing through life, and then also understanding the world and its unpredictableness all in itself. He doesn't know enough yet. That conversation then just was like, something ain't right. He need to talk to a doctor. Something ain't right. I took him to my mom's, had my mom talk to him. My siblings was there. I even took him, after leaving there, I took him to the hospital so he can get an evaluation. But those can only go but so far, because again, and it was the emergency room at that hospital. They didn't have a specific psych ward, and at that point, I didn't know where to take him. I had called some of my relatives, a couple of my cousins, to see if they can give me some advice on where to go, but they didn't answer because it was late. It was really late. It was like midnight going on 1 a.m. It was very late leaving there, getting him to the hospital. So I was hoping that they can keep him at least until the morning or something, but they released him. They gave him discharge, and then he went back to my aunt's, by like 2 a.m. or something like that. And yeah, and he's been there ever since. But it's just, And in the aftermath of it, it's not, you know what I'm saying, it's not over with. That's why I was saying, like, he, with that place being under surveillance, the very next day, next business day, they got police knocking at my door and county sheriff's office on my phone doing wellness checks for him. So of course, if things didn't check out or however they wanted to spin this situation, they could have arrested me. I'm like, I'm not in the clear with this. They still can spin it however they want to spin it. My livelihood is on the line behind him not wanting to get a job. That's basically what it is, being immature, being reckless. Like, this is crazy. So I'm still trying to get him some help. But even now, like, my feelings about it, my feelings towards the whole situation, I I I feel like I am done. I feel like I did what I was supposed to do. And I just feel like I'm not gonna put myself through the stress. I'm not gonna put myself through the pressure, the issue, none of that. Like, I gotta support myself, and that's what I was just on the phone talking with my mother about, because this was traumatizing for me, and I've worked very hard, for my mental stability, to get myself together and to heal and go through my journey and understanding my mistakes and my learning style. So I can't take on more stress. I can't. But it's like all of them, including my mom, she expects me to just act like everything is cool. Everything is going back to normal. And he about to come back down here and live with me. But it's like, but he said he don't want to get a job. So am I supposed to walk on eggshells around his feelings and him not wanting to work? What is he supposed to do? How is he supposed to get to school? Like, nobody is saying that they're gonna help me or even foot the bill for it. I don't even know if that's still his plan if he wants to go to school. So it's like, but he just supposed to be down here with me. I want him to get help. Nobody thinks that he needs to get help. I'm just like, whoa. And y'all want me to go back to everything being hunky dory and go back to the regularly scheduled program? That's what I was telling my mom, like, baby, my mental stability is not okay. I'm not okay. I'm not okay. Okay. And me caring for myself right now is pretty much all that I could take on. I'm not saying I'm giving up. I'm not saying that I don't love him. I'm not saying that I don't care. But he's clearly going through something that I don't have the space for. He needs help beyond me. So shoot, I'm not trying to be difficult about it, but it is like, oh, he'll feel y'all gonna figure it out. Y'all will figure it out. And if y'all not gonna figure it out, he gonna figure it out. Because he clearly had his mind made up that he was gonna go. So me trying to come in with my emotional empath having self ain't gonna change nothing. He's still gonna make his decision how he wanna make his decision. And y'all all have said he's gonna live his life how he wanna live his life. Completely fine. Then that means I have to pull back. That means I have to start making the disconnections now. I have to start the process of detachment now. Okay? And like I said, this was unexpected for me. This was very, I was like, what the heck? So yeah. So I'm like, oh yeah, I heard you loud and clear, bruh. You ain't got to worry about me. You ain't got to worry about me. But I think that, and for him to throw up in my face that I'm not his parent, you're absolutely right. And if you felt like anything that I was doing was caring for you as a parent would, then I apologize. you know, because that wasn't at all my intent. You know, that wasn't at all what I was trying to do. That wasn't none of that. So, you know, like I'm just gonna fall back. I don't, I don't have no reason to be involved. That's why I was like, you have no idea how much I was wanting. It's not that I didn't want to do anything, but I was gonna help you until you got to the point where you were able to walk on your own. You were not gonna, you certainly weren't gonna be living with me rent free. You gotta have your own plan. I knew then your plans had nothing to do with my plans. So you 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 staying around with me, it was probably gonna kill you softly. And I wasn't at all, that wasn't my intentions or my expectations at all. I knew you wanted to go see the world, but again, it's the way that you do it, so. But yeah, I just think it's crazy, like they expect me to just act like everything is cool, or like my feelings, that's why I'm like, I'm not Teflon Dawn. I had to just tell my mom, like, I'm not strong as you. I'm more creamier than a marshmallow. I'm more soft than taffy, I'm not built for tough. I'm not. I don't know how somebody can, blatantly disrespect me and then I welcome them back with open arms immediately. Nope. Absolutely not. Because he's in his senior year. He's got prom this Friday. All his stuff is down here. He wants me to bring his stuff up. I'm I calm down. I'm not in my feelings. I will bring you your stuff, baby. But again, I had no plans on being up there until Friday. Because that was initially, it was going to be for his prom. In between the time we got him prepared for prom and everything, I wasn't anticipating on my family having a loss. So we having a homegoing service on Friday as well. So therefore, therefore I will be attending homegoing services. And, after that, my schedule is up to me. So then, that's so crazy. I better stop thinking like that. But yeah, yeah. So then I'm talking to my mom, and she like, I didn't know he was going to prom. Yeah, he going to prom. Then she asking me, she like, how he gonna get there? I don't know. I have no idea. Well, you was planning on taking him before. I understand that, but I didn't anticipate for none of my plans to change. And I was only gonna take him if and only if he didn't have nobody else to take him. So hopefully by then he got somebody to take him. He can go to prom. I ain't saying he can't go to prom. He can go to prom. I'm bringing him his stuff. What I'm saying, that's why I was telling my mom. Yeah, look, we just got to leave early. We just got to leave early to get there. Oh no, I'm not saying. I'm not saying that can't nobody take him. What I'm telling you is that I'm not taking him. Yeah, I'm not taking him to prom. So, yes, that very well will be the circumstances for whomever is going to take him. I'm not taking him. And I don't see how anybody else will force me or make me feel more compelled to take him. This is still traumatic for me. And that's why I was telling my mother. This was still hard for me. I'm still not over it. I understand. I don't want you to think for one second that I don't understand what's going on. But what I'm telling you is my mental space is not giving me enough stability to be able to stomach that. I have to stomach picking him up on Saturday or Sunday. And then my mother's like, well, what's the difference? What's the difference between Friday and Saturday or Sunday? What's the difference? Difference being that he said once he's done with all his prom festivities, because he's going to go to some after parties, that he would prefer to get picked up on Saturday or Sunday. And that just so happens to be how my schedule is going to open up. So I'm going to pick him up on Saturday. And even then, I have to prepare my mind for that. I'm not completely okay with me having to pick him up on Saturday, but everybody's telling me that I can't get away from this kid because he's my responsibility. 18 years old and legal in the eyes of the law, but yet he's my responsibility and I can't just walk away. Like I'm quitting or giving up on something. Never mind the fact that he was the one that jumped ship. Okay. So, I don't know. I don't know what to do. And I don't know how strong they anticipate that I be. But I feel like I'm not, you know. And that's what I was telling my mom, well, it's Wednesday and God still can make a way. You know, maybe I feel differently come Friday, but how I'm feeling right now, the answer is no. I will do my due diligence and taking him his prom clothes, but I'm not going to be worried about going to see him and all that other stuff. No. No. Because for what? You know, like, I'm not his parent, and I'm barely his sister. Okay? So, you know, I feel like I'm loud and clear. I heard you. He's been telling me to butt out of his business. He's been telling me to, you know, stay out of his affairs. If he wants me to know about something, or if he wants me to be a part of something, he will tell me. So, and that's a part. That's why I was saying, like, Lele, you got to do what you wanted to do. You did what you wanted to do. No, I didn't. No, I did not. No, I did not. You want to know how I know I didn't want to, like, but I'm not going to have a conversation with you. That's why I think it's so crazy. Like, the person who denied me the opportunity to get my shit together with family is now telling me that I can't walk away from something that is traumatizing to me. Not offering any help, but telling me that I got to see it through. See what through? See what through? He's not my kid. I'm not his parent. What the fuck do I have to see through? But it's just stuff like that. And it's just, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know what y'all think when y'all look at me. I'm one of the softest motherfuckers y'all have ever seen. There's nothing but goo running around in here. I'm not strong. And I'm not saying that to be funny. I'm saying that to be like, what is it you anticipate that I deal with or accept? Like, I'm telling you that I'm not okay with this. Why is this something that you're telling me that I have to accept? I'm not okay. I need help. What? Like, yeah. So, I just feel like it's frustrating. Look, I'm about to get out of here. It's frustrating that this is what it's coming to, and it's only Wednesday. And I really do. I feel like it's just taking a lot for me to continue to maintain. And these are the things that, you know, really just used to have me crumbling and really stressed out. I'm tired now. You know, that's why I'm like, I need a minute to talk. And you know, and the beat goes on. It just keeps on continuing, you know. And I'm frustrated, you know. So I don't know. But I do know I feel like I'm putting my foot down, you know, like if I have to be the bad guy, then I have to be the bad guy. But I'm not gonna compromise at the sake of my own sanity. You know, like I can't. Yeah, I can't.